Hey guys, we're up to part 4 of the EFI conversion. So this is the final part of the process besides getting it tuned. So I'll flip the camera around and we can take a look. I'll put on this camera lens, it's a bit better. So I've literally just finished doing all the wiring on the engine. So we're just using the MSD crank trigger on the front. Everything else is pretty much how it was before. I have bought 2-stage of dry nitrous, so they're 200 horsepower each, so there's going to be 400 horsepower total of nitrous on this engine. They can go up to, I think with them solenoids I could probably get away with 250 horsepower, so 500 max, but I'm happy to just stick with 400 max for now anyway. I just finished wiring up all the injectors. I can't tell you much about the injectors because I have no idea. Dale just said they'll work, so I got them. This is a vacuum pump, just for some people that have no idea what these are. So this just creates vacuum in the crankcase of the engine, and just helps seal up. Pretty much stops engines from leaking out oil from weird places. It helps with that, and it also makes like an extra, I don't know, 10, 15 horsepower, maybe 20 horsepower, something like that, just by creating vacuum. Helps with ring seal, I believe, in the engine. So coil on plug, I've got the wiring done for that in the engine bay. I bought 2 Acufab throttle bodies, and I've just got a bar running across here to join the linkages together. Yeah, let me turn the light on. Got to change. Nice straight shot down into the engine. So that's that. I'm just going to have the throttle cable running off here. I'll probably make like a little throttle bracket here once I get it in the car, and it'll just pull it from there, sort of thing. With the fuel rails, there's 2 hoses running under the intake, which are hanging out the back here. I'll have to size them once I get the engine in the car. I'm going to have the fuel pressure regulator mounted up on the firewall in the car around this sort of area here. So there's going to be a return off the bottom. These 2 are going to join into the sides, and then the main fuel pressure is going to be going into the back of the rails here. This is one of the cam sync, which is like a drop-in cam sync. You need this for EFI stuff. So the motor is pretty much exactly the same as it's always been in this car. The only changes that we did this time around was the heads. So the heads originally off this motor went on the ute, and these heads here are still conventional, but they're Edelbrock Victor 24 degree. So they're like a Pat Musi designed head from Edelbrock. They're kind of old, but they just outflowed the AFR 357 heads that were originally on this motor. So they had like heaps of mid-range flow compared to the AFR heads, so they should help pick up some extra horsepower. So keen to see how they'll go. Overall, the sump, just everything inside the motor is the same. Still got the Oliver rods, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, same intake manifold. It's literally just had throttle bodies put on it. So had all the bungs welded on the tunnel ram, and then I just put in the this nitrous kit is it's a soft line nitrous kit too. So it just has, it's nice and neat. Just has little soft line nylon with little push lock fittings, so it's very easy to install. But I just have the nitrous, they're 90-degree bungs, just shooting in the side of the runners, so they shoot the nitrous straight down in the port. Yeah, same with the injectors, shooting straight down in the port. What else we got? I am making new headers as well, so it would have been nice and easy to just reuse these, but these heads have a raised exhaust port, so the other heads, it's not much. The other heads, the exhaust port was just, what is it, 0.75 of an inch, which is like around 15 millimeters or something. So the original exhaust port was down here on the AFR heads, and these have just been lifted up a bit, which is just enough to make my headers hit the bottom of the pan. So these headers have already been modified because I originally designed for an old sumper hat on the motor. So I've already slogged these with a hammer, like pretty bad. They're just old. And the one over here is like got cracks in it all over the place. So down here near the collector, it's got a crack there. There's a few other areas that cracked. Around here, down in there. And cracked there too. Crack there. Now you can see the crack better there. So they're starting to fall apart. They're old. I think 5 or 6 years ago as I did them. I just did them with a MIG welder. I ground the welds, which I shouldn't have done because that's what's causing the pipes to crack around the middle areas. And yeah, they're old. So I bought new pipes. So once I get the motor in the car, I'm going to do new headers with removable collectors, which I've got over here. This is a much better setup. You just have it so the pipes just slip in, so you can just remove the collector, and then you can have the pipes individual, because the engine bays with big blocks are quite tight. You can just pull one pipe out at a time rather than having to try and sit the pipes in the engine bay and then drop the motor in. It's a bit of a nightmare, so I'm going to work on that. In here everything is pretty much kind of how it was. I just added a filter to the power steering just for peace of mind. Got an oil cooler up the front, trans cooler with a fan mounted on the front as well. I think I bought an 11-inch Spal fan, which is all controlled by the Haltech. Still got my Clearview down there, and they're the two oil lines that run to the motor. Gearbox is still going very strong, so I'm leaving it in there because I have no issues with it. It stays in there. I don't want to take it out and then have a look at it and there'll be nothing wrong with it. So the gearbox now has done, I think, solid like 3 years now. It's been going like really good. So, and Norm from Victory Performance did that gearbox originally, so he did a top job. Not much new with the car. Interior is still pretty much the same. It's all pretty much ready to rock and roll. I finished mounting all the nitrous in here. I have a relay over here for the bottle heaters. That's it. You've already seen this from the last video. So that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm going to put this motor in now and we can go from there. Alright, so it's been 4 days and this is where I'm at. I've got the engine in and I've pretty much got everything done except I'm waiting on a fitting for this hose, for the fuel rail. I'm waiting on a fitting to fix up this oil line here, just to get that angle out of it. So I've just bought a 30-degree fitting for that. I am also waiting on all the pipe to come through the courier, which has been delayed, which kind of sucks. So once that gets here, I'm going to get stuck into them headers. I really wanted to get started on them today, but They haven't arrived yet. So all I've done is just cut all the flanges. I've got everything ready for it. Waiting on 2 carby studs for these as well. I've done the throttle cable and everything. I just made up like a little steel plate, put springs on it. Even laser etched like Fry Motorsport on my little linkage bar thing. Alright, so just fingers crossed I get this pipe, get the headers made. I wanted to get them coated. Just everything just falls into place and there's no hiccups with anything. So I'm also waiting on 2 shafts for the rockers. And they're not meant to be due in until either late next week or maybe the week of power play, so that's really pushing it. So I've just really got my fingers crossed that everything just works out and the car makes power play. So I've also got some more black shirts in as well, so I'm going to put a link in the comments if you want to get a black McFry shirt. I've got a couple more in, and when I do sell out again, I'll get some more in rather than trying to push people to buy the blue ones because it didn't work too well. I know for future I need to get black shirts, don't get different colors. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll keep you guys updated on the week of power play, how I'm traveling.